Hello, Summit Artists. So last week we should have been finishing up our awl. If you haven't had a chance to finish it completely like me, we're going to hold off to doing that after we make our clay awl. So we are going to be using a few stencils to get our shapes properly fitted on our slab of clay. A slab of clay looks much like a pancake. It's flat and it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. So to do this, we are only going to draw once around the shape of the oval for our body. That's the yellow sheet of paper. And I'm going to need all these other pieces of clay later, so I'm going to save them. So I'm setting aside my body. And then I'm going to pick up an orange sheet of paper to trace for the head. If you notice, I'm doing this gently. I'm drawing once, twice, and then 3 times until I've cut all the way through that slab. And then finally, we are going to be working on the wings of our awl. And so that is the bright blue shape. And I'm placing that on a second slab of clay. So you'll need to go to see Ms. LaGrange to get your second slab of clay. And so to do this, again, I'm only cutting 3 times. I'm not cutting all the way through at one time. I also like to smooth the edges of my clay where I have a little bit of snipples from the clay when I was cutting it. And now I'm going to get this placed out. So I have the head on top, and I'm gently drawing into the clay, and now I'm doing something called scoring. Scoring makes it so your clay pieces don't fall apart. So if we don't score, your owl will fall apart. So we're needing to draw lines in our clay, and then we're going to press them down. I was really careful with this because I don't want lines in the breast of the owl where I don't want to have that pattern. And then for the head, I had to flip the head over and just do it along the bottom. Now with that extra clay that we saved, we are going to be building those other parts. So I have triangles for the ears. I'm scoring the back. And then I'm going to press it down to hold it in place. Excellent. And then I'm moving on to my next ear. And I'm going to continue this for the claws of my owl as well. So I'm forming each of the pieces, and I'm scoring the back, and then I'm gently pressing it down. And the big test later on will be to turn over our owl and write our name. And that's going to be our last step. And the reason I say that that's a big test is when we turn it upside down, if any of the pieces fall off, we're going to have to rescore it. So we're going to be testing to see if we've scored these enough to make them strong enough to have them stay together. So here's my final piece, my second claw. And after I've done that, I'm just going to put together my extra pieces of clay. And you can hand your extra clay to Ms. LaGrange. Oh, one more thing, I have to put the beak on. So that was fun because I was able to use a rhombus for that beak. Okay, I'm going to take that extra clay and just make it in a ball and give it to Ms. LaGrange. And then we can use that in another class. Oh, there are my supplies. I'm taking my toolkit, and we should have picked up a toolkit for our table. Our toolkit has our maple tool in it for carving, but it also has these texture pieces. And each of these pieces make unique textures, and we are going to be using this to put our textures into our owl. So I'm putting that on for the tummy. I have just this loop tool, then a chunk of wood. I'm hoping you also saw that I did not use the same pattern that I had on my drawing, and that's okay too. So if you are being creative and you're thinking that you want to change your design, that's okay as well. I do want my fuzzy hair on the head of my owl, so I'm using that same technique with that tool. Now you can imagine, boys and girls, if you press too hard on your clay with a tool, what's going to happen? Oh, you're right. It'll go all the way through, and we don't want a hole in our awl. So let's be careful when we're pressing that we're not pressing completely through our work of art. Okay, boys and girls, it looks like I'm all set. Enjoy.